Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nursery Podcast, a podcast from Ohio's Creative Voice. My name is Lee Boyle.
I'm Stephanie Craddock-Sherwood.
My name is Dan Sherwood.
I'm Aaron Heindel.
I'm Ellen.
So, the people that aren't Lee and Ellen are in a band called Coal-Fired Bicycle from Columbus, Ohio. Hear their music right now.
You got a new maid aqua tea. That's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Your prophecies are shaking like a suburban stairs, and that's right. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. The Bible that you're beating was made in China by slave labor. You lied to your kids about history and the world. Because you gotta feel right. You gotta do it on the cheap. Yeah, you have to fit in. You can favor anything. All your sins, they all look the same. That's alright here. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Some are ignore the others, yield beatings. What the fuck? What kind of headline is it? The cross that you're wearing is covered in blood diamonds. I can't help but wonder how much your vanity costs in lies. Because you gotta feel right. You gotta do it on the cheap. Yeah, you have to fit in. You can favor anything.
Okay, we're back. Or later. Well, to us it's later, but for them it's now. Audience, there's a thing called editing. Learn about it.
Do we know what we're doing?
We're going to split a Hunky platter.
Onions on the pierogies?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all you're doing?
I think we can split that and be good, right? Or do you want to?
Can we also get two more pierogies? Two more pierogies? Sure. Thank you. Pierogies.
But now you're on an odd number and somebody's going to get shorted, right?
Oh. I mean,
Well, I'm also going to get a hunky platter, and if I have too much, you guys I can share. I'll also do a hunky platter, and I'm going to get a pickled egg as well,
An egg?
just to live dangerously.
Onions on the...
Yes, please.
we have to share a van with you, man.
You had eggs on your pizza today, and cheese on your pizza.
Boy, I like easy. You're not going to be a problem, are you?
No, we're not.
Same. One for each of us.
And who gets the picture?
Oh, we do.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So anyways, you guys just came off a show at Susie's Dogs and Drafts, a venue in Youngstown, and you're on your way to a venue in Akron, Ohio, Annabelle's, correct?
Yep.
So what's it like being in Coal-Fired Bicycle? Is it
Fart
awesome?
jokes. Lots of fart
A
jokes.
lot less silence
Yeah.
than that just was, actually.
Yeah. You guys have a lot to talk about because you're sharing a van and you're on tour once in a while, and you got a comfortable, awesome bed in the van, so you're living together.
It's actually really quiet in the van a lot of the time because normally Aaron's like either tired from work or hungover or something and asleep in the van, like, and
So tired.
Like-
Yeah, with a 3-year-old.
yeah, and like I'm normally driving and we don't really listen to music in the van very
Which
often.
is strange to me. I meant to bring that up on the way up here. Like, this is the only time I ever don't listen to music in the car when we're in the van together.
But you know why it is?
Because we play music?
No, I actually really enjoy listening to music, but I hate trying to have a conversation while music's on, and so I keep turning the music down. And it's like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Like, I don't need the background noise. Like,
Makes for better conversations.
Yeah.
You gotta get some good elevator music to play in the van.
no, it's not an elevator; it's a van.
It's a vanivator.
Do you guys ever listen to like talk radio type stuff while you're driving, or is that like?
When I drive, I have to listen. I can't listen to music when I drive unless because I will fall asleep. I'll get like it lulls me to sleep. So like it's podcasts of this American life and story oriented, so that I can not fall asleep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so, what would your advice be to like people who are like, I'm in Ohio and I want to start a band? Since you guys have been doing it for a while in various capacities, what would your couple pieces of advice?
Just people who just want to start a band.
Yeah.
That's wow.
And assuming,
be married to your
like
bandmate.
play some shows. Yeah, be married, be family. Yeah.
That's wow. That's taking it super basic. I got to think about that here for a second.
Yeah.
I would say be choosy in the company you keep, because
Yeah.
being pinned
Yeah.
in a small space with people, as they can attest, and vice versa, it's really important to be able to get along with the people that you're in if you're going to be in a band for more than an hour with someone.
But also be able to sort it out when you're not getting along.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say something stupid and it's going to piss Aaron off at some point, but like, we're going to sort it out. It's not
We
going
have,
to
a,
be...
we have a running
know
bet
that'll
to see which one, if either of us ever actually offends one another, we're gonna there's gonna be a handshake involved.
Yeah.
Because we're just that we don't let shit get to us.
That's something that you can't avoid no matter who you're with. I know that last time when we played with you guys a few months back, me and my brother had a big fight. Right, it was kind of dramatic. It was like seriously 1 minute before we were to be on.
No.
And like like that stuff doesn't actually happen like that, but it did that.
Is that why you took your shirt off? Was that to like to fight?
Probably. To balance out the night. So like that's unavoidable, even with a brother who you should comfortably be able to fight with and like turn it off and on. Sometimes you just have kind of weird verbal blowouts and stuff.
Another good thing with fighting with your brother is that eventually you have to make up.
Yeah, they can't necessarily go anywhere very easily.
I'm always jealous of people who are in bands with their siblings. All of my family is really musical, and I'd be cool if I could do that, but I can't because they're all very religious, and I'm not.
Oh, I see.
But like, I'm always jealous of bands with siblings in it, because it's like there's an unspoken rule that this is always going to be family, so we better figure out how to get over this fight that we're having right now, because we're still going to be family at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that not a lot of bands, any band that's not siblings doesn't have.
Yeah. And to get a plug out of the way quick, where can listeners go to check out Cold Fire Guys?
Bandcamp's probably the best option.
We have a website that links to the Bandcamp, and we have we've got all the typical social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
So their jumping off point is coalfiredbicycle.com.
Yeah.
Also, if you are into listening to like random demos and just like this little brain fart or that little brain fart, we also have a SoundCloud where all of those sorts of like random things go that like somebody was involved in, but it's not really like the band necessarily. But
But
anyway,
it's some sort of essence.
yeah.
Think tank.
I wanted to move back for a second. I finally have a reliable, useful piece of advice, maybe.
Advice for people who want to start a band.
Yeah, be diligent, but don't be in a hurry. Like, what you're doing is going to take a tremendous amount of work, and it's going to be a marathon. But like, it's also like there are so many things that will take so long to fall in place, and that takes so long to like build up and get rolling, that like if you try to jump ahead of effectively where you're at by much, it's not going to go well. You're going to get really discouraged. But there's always a ton that you can be working on. Just, I guess, like the asterisk beside that is just like recognize where you're at, and like, you know, keep an eye where you want to be going, but like
Remember where you are.
but remember where you are and don't get ahead of yourself.
Okay, that makes sense because you guys are on the road a lot, and I should mention to listeners that you guys like to try to check out local flavor when you're in the city you're playing at. Hence, we're actually at Rip's Cafe in Struthers, Ohio right now. We're going to be like eating while we're doing this podcast, and that probably is something that kind of keeps you grounded because you're like, hey, I have a little mini adventure to go on every town I hit. Like, so you have something other than just music.
Well, like vacations are cool, but when you can go on a vacation where you also get to play music for a couple hours in the middle of all of that, like, that's preferable to me.
Right.
It's a good escape from the daily grind kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we
makes
also.
it-
Go ahead.
It makes it fun for all of us that we get to
Right.
do a little bit of something outside of music or not, because there's downtime in between stuff, especially if we're only, I mean, the shows we're playing tonight are what, an hour apart from one another, if that,
Right.
like time-wise as a drive. So we've got, 12 hours of time to figure out what to do with between shows, and it makes it nice. Like we randomly went into this Star Supply. It's like a salvage company that had the most strange assortment of hardware hoopla I've ever seen in my life.
I'm so excited about my beat up bowling pin. I don't my $4 bowling pin. It's amazing.
They also have the sexiest red countertop. I don't even like the color red. And like this countertop, like you just wanted to lick it. You wanted to spill food on it so you could lick it.
But we always, like, almost every time we're out, we come across something we're like, okay, we need to turn around and go back and go in there because that looks interesting.
Yeah.
This place was one of the first, this is the first weekend I came out with you when we came here last year.
Yep.
And you're like, we're going to go try this place that has Polish working man's food and Genesee beer on tap. And I said,
Genesee Light.
that sounds like the right kind of adventure, and we had a great time in here. Dan was worried that the guy behind the bar was going to strangle me at one point, I think.
The good news is he can do it with 2 fingers.
Yes,
Like,
he was a large tank of a man.
That was awesome. But you guys are more hyper aware of the cool places in Youngstown than I am, and with the exception of you guys, when I come to Columbus with other friends, I find that the same is true for me. I take them to the cool places, and they were just like, I always just went around the corner to Danny's over and over. You know, like they're working, and so they just
You get into patterns.
Yeah, you definitely get into ruts in your hometown.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
also like because like I don't know if this is the case in Youngstown, but like things open so often in Columbus that it's like, so there are 5 new restaurants this month, and the last 3 new ones I tried I really wasn't into. So like, you know, the incentive to try a new thing isn't necessarily there in your hometown, but then you go out of town and it's, I don't know, like
yeah, you see more beauty than the hometowners do.
We ended up one time, he and Steph came over for a bonfire or something one night and got good and drunk and spent the night. And then the next morning we got up and Dan was like, I was looking online, and what's this best breakfast and sandwiches place?
That's beautiful.
And so we went, and it was just a little tiny shotgun place in a strip mall, but they had the best corned beef.
Yes,
Red
please.
Twitter, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, they had the best corned beef I've ever had in my life.
It's so not energy food. It's
No.
not even good for
It's
a
like
hangover.
sleep for two hours after you eat food.
I think it made my hangover worse, but it tasted so good I didn't mind it that much.
Well, those things are distractions from shows, and sometimes they make your set better because you didn't put all your eggs in the basket of, will this show be okay or not? But
Here's another piece of
Yeah,
advice:
go for it.
don't ever hang any hopes on how one show is going to go.
one show will get
Like it's
Beets,
like it's
pickle
totally
beets.
luck of the draw. Like your friends may all be busy that particular
Oh wait,
night.
those are beets. That's the egg.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Also, there are beats.
There are beats, yeah. So what's the worst show you ever played that you you can think of.
I can tell you off the top of my head, it is Donato's Basement. It was last summer. We
It was a hometown show.
yeah, we got asked to play the show by the booking agent for a band from Chicago. We don't have good luck with bands from Chicago for whatever reason. But their booking agent, which was also kind of a red flag, like, if you have a booking agent, why are you playing in Donato's Basement? Which it looks like a church rec room, but like that went through Armageddon or something like that. But they have this like sad little like basically the height of a 2x4 stage that isn't nailed together completely, and so like there's like it's in a corner. There's like plate tectonics going on with the pieces of the stage moving apart from each other, and there are no monitors. The sound person is also the bartender, and so she's like,
She's running around crazy.
Yeah, I mean, no, granted, she did it for having to juggle both of those jobs. She was awesome at both of them, but that doesn't mean that you were good at either of them.
Right, that's right.
And Brett is here.
When we showed up that day for that particular gig, they had double booked the venue because it's a pizza shop and they had no friggin' clue what was going on.
Of an actual Donato's. Like it's
Like the pizza. But the other thing that had been booked on top of the show was a gaming tournament.
I think it was like a Mario Kart 64 or something
Nintendo
convention.
64 gaming cube. It was like a room full of.
Cisco here. This is extra juice for your
thank you. All these hunkies.
But it was just a room full of more people than you would ever see in a room together that hadn't touched a boob. And it made you sad.
Oh, thank you much.
Take a spray under there, too.
Awesome. Thank you.
What else we need, guys?
The other pierogies.
An egg?
And the extra pierogi. Is it 2 pierogies?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have never had a pickled egg before in my life. That is delicious.
Yes.
I have never indulged.
Can I try it? Just a tiny.
It's wait.
There's
It's
beets
beet.
here.
It's beet pickled.
Right.
All right.
I'm probably gonna hate it, but I'm trying
Okay.
Let me
to
slice you off a bit of that deliciousness.
break me off a
You
piece of
want some
that.
with yolk or without
Right,
yolk?
right.
without.
He normally
Yolk.
hates beets. I've
Sans
tried
yolk.
beets in so many different ways
Beets
to
are
try
disgusting.
to. I mean, I will like slow
Trying to
bake
give
them
them some
with
culture.
and then put like goat cheese on them.
Tastes like goat.
Yeah, you just don't like the chemical that tastes like dirt in it.
Yeah.
It's also going to turn poop purple.
Oh,
Something else doesn't.
What happened?
Does mine have more? How many are you supposed to have?
I only have 2.
No, you should have
3. You should have 3. Somebody.
I got no one.
You have. I had extra.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't see it because it was coming.
Trying to
no,
steal your
absolutely.
pierogies.
I already ate off this, so I'm going to
Let's
give
do
you
that.
the pierogi.
She steals Pinelli off of you.
She did.
The pierogi.
Trying to get over. No, I didn't
trust
see
her.
it.
You did it real good. You kept your head down, stayed
Real quiet.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
How about best show?
We didn't even get to what was so.
Oh yeah.
So like the band before us borrowed some gear, and then they like, and I was like afraid for my amplifier the entire time they were borrowing it, like.
And your pedal board.
And my pedal board.
They were amazing, by the
They
way.
also blew everything else off stage, and then like Aaron just like.
I became thoroughly drum intimidated because the drummer before me was so
intimidated?
good.
Oh, I've had that happen.
And so I'm like trying to overcompensate while playing and failing at it miserably.
Like there were so many fills that you played that day. You've never done this before or since. Where like you came out of the fill like a beat ahead or a beat behind.
Right.
I would like to note that actually I had a great
But when it was all said and done, the worst part, at least for me, was that
I think that's the worst though, when one person is off, because like they played a show recently where his brother Jack was really off, and I don't know, it was really
And it's not
frustrating
really
for me
anyone's
because-
fault. Somebody's just not vibing.
No, and I don't mean like I'm not
No,
being
you're
like
right.
terrible.
It's
but, like,
weirder when
or like your
you'd rather
voice
have
like have a
everyone
cold or something like.
suck or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. It's funny.
the I think like at least what I walked away with though, like the worst part for me was that
I didn't handle it well, and I like threw like a baby tantrum at the end of the set.
Oh,
just
yeah.
because of like how disgusted I was with how poorly we played.
Right.
Like I think
We
we
had brought
didn't even
out
finish.
tons
We were
of
like
people.
halfway done with the song, and something got messed up, and you were just like, "Fuck it," and walked off stage.
No, we finished, but it was just like, and it was a really, like, actually it was a really angry, like, we did a run through of Fancy Pants, it was like the angriest we've ever played it. But like, all of our friends were there, we should have been happy, and I wasn't.
No, I've had that happen a lot. Yeah, with us. And then there have been other times where I thought we were horrible, and somebody else said, "What was the best show you ever played?" And just like dumb things like that.
Yeah.
Well, the other part about it was at the end, after all of that, the door guy gave all of the door to the touring band from Chicago without asking us.
Like,
Oh my.
He was just like, if you had asked us, we probably would have said yes, but you didn't ask us and did it anyway. It was.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
yeah.
You take a little piece of it, maybe. But
Yeah, I mean, like, we could have, if we had gotten $5, we could have paid for our gas.
yeah.
And it was all our people there. Like, we brought the crowd.
Exactly.
There was nobody else there for one of the other bands.
Yeah.
There's been a few times where we've gone out of town and have been kind of a different situation, been the only ones that drew. And we've been really angry at like it's happened in Columbus with a couple bands that were like headlining, and then we'd bring like just like 15 people or something we were real proud of for how tiny we are. And like there'd be 3 headlining Columbus bands. There'd be nothing there.
That's a terrible promoter right there.
Although at the same time, that's really
And I know sometimes that's
that's lazy band, but also like
their fans are sick of it.
Have a good night.
yeah, hometown can be rough.
But that's never been
Yeah.
the case with you guys. It's always been bands that seem to look at it as doomed from the beginning. You know, that you guys don't talk like that about like the promotional side of shows or anything. But there are bands that were like, yeah, imagine, you know, like this is going to be a fun gig. Who cares? You know, they talk like that. And they
yeah.
say it before it happens, man.
No,
like,
no.
Let's try here. Like,
Yeah, and you might be surprised. I mean,
yeah.
I'm also like, we found that like our favorite and our best shows are in like typically kind of small towns, because you know we're in, you know, Columbus isn't a gigantic city, but it's the 14th largest in the country, and
Did it go up?
it was 14th last time I
I heard on the radio, I'm pretty sure the statistic was that now that about 2 million people live in the greater
go up?
Columbus area.
Yeah. So, you know, we are essentially like tiny fish in a big pond there.
But we're growing.
Yeah. But in like smaller towns when we go and visit, you know, the reception is like, oh yay, great, and just it's so nice, and we feed off that so much. How could you not?
Yeah, definitely. And usually, like a smaller venue and a smaller town is more fun because you can, if nothing else, even if there's not that many people here, everybody can hear every lyric. You're in a tight little room, and it's
Yeah.
just more expressive for the band,
Yeah.
as opposed to an echoey soundstage with not that many people filling the room.
Yeah.
Right. As far as your question about the best gig, I
Yeah.
think hands down, the last time we played at Tree Bar in Columbus, the audience was like, there was a decent sized audience. They were really engaged, and like,
And they stuck around.
but we like the degree to which we feed off of the audience. Like we've got basically 2 modes. So we can be like, if you know, if we're playing a show and nobody's paying attention or whatever, like we can just kind of be like, okay, well this is just going to be for us, and we're going to have fun with this, and that's fine. But when we're getting some sort of like positive, like when we're getting some like feedback and interaction from the audience, and people are engaged, like the amount that like spins the engines up is insane. Like instruments almost got thrown at the end of the set, like, but in a good way.
We had a similar experience at that venue, where like we were surprised at the attentiveness and
Well, you pull up to the place and it seems like you're playing in someone's like sex dungeon in the back of their house or something. It's such a bizarre looking like location. And then you get inside and you're like, wow. This is really wild.
Yeah.
Looks can be deceiving.
I mean, and it's a wonderful venue because it's like, you know, it's very music oriented. But there's a little thing about it that's kind of funky, in that where the music happens is in this one room where the tree used to be, the tree bar. There used to be a live tree.
Is that gone now?
It's now a stump. It's Stump Bar. The tree actually has been dead for a really long time, and so when they actually took down the tree, they actually made like some guitars out of it and some other like. It's really cool. Yeah.
It was a maple, wasn't it?
It was a big maple, but like in the last days, like there was the ceiling was leaking and all that kind of stuff.
You're basically standing outdoors.
Essentially, which is a little freaky. But
No. It was way worse than standing outdoors. Because if you stand outdoors and you get wet, you're like, that's water coming out of the sky. I understand that. When you get dripped on from the ceiling and tree bar, you're like, that's water, and I don't know what else.
yeah. Well, at that point it was Tree House, but now it's
That's
Tree
right.
Bar because it's owned by a different.
And even Street House before that.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's and it does look like somebody's like basement, but it's just like somebody's cool basement. And all the music, like if you want to listen to music, you're in that room. So the people who are in that room are attentive. The people in that room, and you can have 5 people in that room, and it feels
like a packed
vibrant
show.
and feels like a packed show. Like I mean, or 30 people in that room, and it feels crazy and awesome. So it's a really love. Actually, we're playing there on Sunday, so Sunday night.
Oh, you guys have a packed weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is our first 3-show weekend.
No.
No, it's not. The last one we went
Last
out was
one.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, you're right. This is our second
Second.
3-show weekend.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah. So we like.
One part of the other thing about that show that made it so good was we were playing with 2 bands we had never played with before. And one guy who we had played with his band, but he was a solo act. And all of the bands that night were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everyone played really well, and it was really, really good music. You know, a lot of times you'll end up, like, one of the bands on the bill will be kind of like, oh, this is all right. Good for them. They're playing. But sometimes you get lucky, and it's just like, what the? How have I not known about this before?
Right.
Holy crap. And so one of the bands we were on with this weekend on all 3 shows is John Patrick and the Outside Voices. They were phenomenal. Just blew us out of the water. And we made really good friends with it. And now we're down here with on their home turf doing it. And that's always the best when you make good connections like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the same way with you guys. That's kind of sort of how we
how it
met
happened.
originally.
Yeah. What was the first show we played
It was
together?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, it was in Pittsburgh.
I guess, but I would wonder why we connected at all for that though. There must have been something before.
I feel
Well, it was Occasional Monster.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
right.
Yeah.
we emailed back and forth. I think a little or messaged back and forth online. I can't remember exactly. For a minute before I think that happened.
What was it for? What made us find each other?
Magic.
That could be a story.
Well, I think it was MySpace. Like I know, like back in the day.
That's a dated statement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're old. But no,
I liked MySpace better for music.
Well, and these two things tie together in a really good way. At the time on MySpace, you could search for bands in a city and then go through them in a fairly expedient fashion and go, okay, these guys are active, these guys aren't active, figure out who is actually currently playing and hear them. And it was just a really efficient way of finding people in cities that you might want to play sometime soon that you could reach out to and connect with.
Hey, I'm
And-
coming into your town. Let's.
Or hey, we haven't done that yet, but do you guys want to set up a thing where we trade shows? Like, and I think that was the
That must
origin
have
of it.
been, yeah.
Like, not quite 10 years ago. Like,
Oh, but you were looking at Youngstown, but they were playing a show in Pittsburgh.
No.
Maybe
No.
you saw a past show at Smiling Moose and thought we were like Pittsburgh regulars or something.
was it the Smiling Moose or
There's
was
a
it
place called the
Excuses?
Smiling Moose.
We never played Excuses till you guys booked us there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we played on the same street.
Yeah,
Right
okay, that
here.
makes
so
sense.
You must have seen that maybe on top of it, maybe not.
I don't know. This is like what was the dinosaur thinking kind of archaeology at this point.
Because it was Excuses the first night and Firehouse the second.
Oh, The second night was what was the place called? It was some
Where you
kind of,
slam the door?
Yeah, it was some kind of dick reference.
Right. Oh, One-Eyed Willie's.
One-Eyed Willie's.
It was called Firehouse like 2 weeks after we
Oh,
moved.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
I got it mixed
Gotcha.
up. Yeah, One-Eyed Willie's Firehouse. It's now like Club something or other. It's one of those things. But yeah, that was a weird place. We played there again when it was Firehouse, and I was like, why
Want you back?
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're Charlie Brown on the football at that point.
Yeah, I don't know what
remember
we were doing.
the really weird stairs to take the gear down and like.
Kind of like playing Bernie's in Columbus.
Oh, no, way worse.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Way worse.
There were like some people, right? Weren't there like some like stragglers that were there, or am I thinking of the other show? Was there no one, or was there some?
I feel like no. Well, the one in Pittsburgh was like there
That
were
one was okay.
There were like 5 people that came back or something like that. We did. We played with a couple of. Actually, we played with one really awesome band, and then one band that was just like a modern rock kind of Nickelback-y something or other. And it just we hoped that they would have draw and
Right.
whatever.
That's right.
But the one in Youngstown, the one at One-Eyed Willie's was like, it was. I guess there was a small audience there.
I think I remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't a complete flop as far as that goes. The owner was just really weird.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's happened for us in other ways. MySpace did get us a show in like Long Island one time by like some weird fluke where somebody saw my youngest brother's act and thought he was like a funk act because funk was in the title of his band at the
It's
time.
called Eli Funk.
Eli Funk, and so they're like, can you come open for us? He's like, can I bring my friend's third class? Like, yeah, and so we booked a tour around that. A lot of stuff like that comes from like these accidental connections.
Right.
We booked, I think we booked a couple tours based on somebody else saying they were going to go on tour with us and then falling out. We just kept, that kind
Right. Yeah, that happens
Actually,
often.
that Long Island tour. His little brother Steve, they let drive in New York City with his permit while he was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was one of his first times driving with his
That's
permit.
trial by
Yeah.
fire, man. You gotta shit or get off the pot, basically.
Or maybe
He
you
was,
do
he
both.
was young. He was the youngest brother, so he had that big confidence. That
Yeah.
And also, he wasn't drinking, I'm
he
sure.
wasn't drinking. And so he would drive. We would have him drive after we'd load, dumb New York load-ins where you load across Central Park or something. Just like stupid. It wasn't that, but it was like going down a block where you couldn't park with instruments all day.
I've heard by most people that I've ever talked to that have played at New York from the Midwest or whatever, going through that it's just more hassle than it's worth in the long run.
Unless you
That's
have
been my
friends
impression.
there to stay with. Like we had, he's played a few
That
shows
helps.
with friends in
But
Brooklyn.
those were good because
So, like, you have a
it
place
felt
to
like
park,
a
you have a
Cedars
place to
show.
stay.
Yeah.
There were enough people
Dishing
that
out
were like, I'm
cash.
leaving Ohio that now live in New York.
I had a buddy's band that played like one of the 4 a.m. bars.
Yeah.
Like they played a 10 o'clock show at one bar and then went and played another one at a 4 a.m. bar.
Yeah.
And there's just the bars are always open there.
That's
It's
right.
freaking crazy. There's never a point in New York where there's not alcohol available.
Yeah.
Which is insane. If that can you imagine what that would be like if that were like anywhere in the Midwest?
Yeah. There was one in Youngstown and it lasted before it just kind of.
Like a 4 a.m. bar?
Yeah.
Really?
Just one. Lemon Grove, if you guys know.
I know Chicago
I've heard the
has
name.
Yeah.
Chicago has late night bars where they'll be open.
Yeah, right.
But like that's there's only like a half dozen of them and they're like grandfathered in. No, there's no new ones being
No
opened
way.
or anything.
No, yeah.
But also the crazy thing in Chicago is that on Saturday nights all the bars are open an hour later. Their licenses go till 3:30 instead of 2:30.
Okay.
Like the rest of the week.
That's pretty cool.
Like it's some sort of clause that they
That's
put
like
in
the
things.
opposite of a blue law. That's like a red law.
Yeah, I was just really like, the first time we played, we were booked to play at this place called Gallery Cabaret, and it was the first time I had played a Saturday night. First time I
What
had,
band was this?
I was playing, it wasn't even a band, it was a duet act with Allison, it was Dead and Lovely, and we were just doing like acoustic guitar, and I think at the time we had a bassist, but
How are we doing?
doing good?
And what do we need?
Good. I don't think anything. I think we're
We're
good
okay?
right now.
We're content?
I'm still nursing mine.
Yes.
Enjoy that.
Thank you.
But yeah, the first time that we were booked to play a Saturday night thing, the bar expected us to play until 3:30. We thought we were only filling time till 2:30. And then 3:30 came around, we got off stage, and the owner was like, "Who's going on next?" And we're like, "What do you mean next? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We're open till 3:30. Oh shit, really? So we ended up just having like a drunken, like all of the bands that were still around, we just had like a jam session for the last hour of the night because we didn't know what to do. We're built, and the crazy thing at that place was it was one of those bars that was, you get X amount of percentage from the door, or not from the door, from the register, from the bar sales. Which those kind of places always seem sketchy to me because number one, they're not showing you a receipt. This is what the bar made tonight, so this is what you get.
Right.
They're saying, here's some cash, go away. We made $50 that night.
Right.
And it was for 4 hours of music, and the bar was full until about 2 o'clock.
Wow.
And then it slowed down to hardly any. So I know that they made more than $50 being 10% of the bar.
No doubt.
So it's like, what?
That's ridiculous.
But it's a way for them to sneak around having to pay bands more than they want to.
It kind of adds to the, like, you know, the big city. Do you focus on big cities, or do you know, go around to smaller towns where
We never made money in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, and you don't typically in Columbus.
We
either.
don't
It's
make
like-
money in cities.
Yeah.
Like, cities are places where we go where hopefully, like, lightning strikes just right, and there's an audience that's into it, and we play the show because hopefully we're going to pick up fans
Connections with other bands is
and
most of what
connections
we're-
with other bands, but it's not like it's like you're never, like, you're gonna have a hard time covering your gas a lot of the time playing large cities unless, like, you are, like, unless
you're in a
Pitchfork
Prius.
is talking about you or something.
Right. When we were playing with Buckshot Hounds in Chicago, when I was up there, we would make more money driving an hour and a half out to DeKalb to play a show. We would make like $300. And in Chicago, they would charge us $125 for sound and $75 for hospitality in the green room, which hospitality in the green room was a case of PBR. I know how much a case of PBR costs. It's not $75.
No, but this is the good PBR.
Well, yeah, but we would end up, you know, having $75 to split between 3 bands at the end of the night, and it's like, sure, you want to play those big venues in Chicago because it's cool, and you know, your friends can walk out and take the L and come see you, but it's just it's such a drag because the thing that I discovered about all that was that there are, let's say, 500 total bars that have bands playing in the Chicago metropolitan area, and there are so many bands that they could be turning down and screwing over a band every night of the year for a year straight, and at the first day of the next year they would still have bands knocking down the door to come play because there's no shortage of swill for them to it's just they don't care about the venues do not care about the bands in specifically in Chicago. It seems like in big cities that's kind of because they know that there's always going to be some punk kid with his garage band that wants to come play.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad I asked you guys like what advice you give to people who start up, because that was kind of like a nice insider look, because that a message to take away if listeners are musicians and they're like young and they do find this stuff like to like be news, like it's like definitely to just go make your own show wherever and not to think you have to be in New York or in Chicago or like just go make it somewhere. Don't make the whole venue maybe, but like play in a little place or build from
Don't have
the ground up where
expectations.
you were.
Don't have expectations that are unrealistic. And play big cities. Just know that you're not going to make money doing it. Do it to try to get exposure, whatever that means, or
On your
try
way
to
through to
try to
something
meet
that's-
good bands.
Right.
It's funny because I met the Floorwalkers at a show in Subterranean. They're a Columbus band, and I'm singing in a David Bowie tribute with the singer from that band in a month. Like, it's really random, small little cross wires like that, but you make good connections, and it pays off down the road.
And another thing that's notable, I think, is that the big city people are usually hipper to whatever format you're throwing at them as far as what you're selling your album on, or not such a literal format, but they're cooler with like knowing what style you might be playing, but you make less money. Whereas in a small town, you have to like completely sell yourself to each person. They'll probably buy.
What is it that you do?
Yeah, you have to sell yourself.
Yeah, so when we're in a large city, I tell people that we're like indie Americana, and when we're in small towns, the line is like we're a blend of country and rock.
And
and like that I don't feel like that's completely accurate, but I don't feel like it's completely inaccurate. But like each of those works well in that kind of theater. But the other thing to keep in mind is that when you're playing in smaller towns, like a lot of the time the radio stations aren't like doing anything that's going to be probably close to what you're doing, and in general what people are already exposed to in a lot of cases is really limited. Like I said, we are like an indie folk Americana rock noisy, God, I don't even know what.
Yeah.
But like somebody was like, you guys remind me of Avenged Sevenfold. And that was in Marietta, Ohio, and that's still a college town. And I'm just like,
who are you and where do you live?
wow.
It never ceases to fascinate me when we're in small town. I mean, I grew up in a small town. I was, Salina is just a little cornville nowhere town. But every time I'm back, even in my own hometown, and I talk about music with people, it is a time warp where the only radio they're exposed to is things like Avenged Sevenfold and Nickelback.
That's
and
where that stuff comes
Metallica
from. They have only
and
a small amount of comparisons.
yeah,
So-
and which is crazy because the internet exists.
Yeah, but there's so much music at the same time. It's like, where do you even, there are a lot of practical ways around the problem, but it's also like that takes effort.
Yeah.
And if you're just living your life and you like music is just something you listen to sometimes, it's not necessarily that important, which is kind of a bummer.
Which is it's also a communal thing. It's your society around you. All your buddies are listening to Avenged Sevenfold and Nickelback. You want to be able to talk music with them, or you want to be in a band, say in your hometown. The door guy at the bar last night at Susie's, I was talking with him, and he's a bassist, and he plays radio rock in a band because all his buddies listen to that. That's what they all know, so that's what they play.
Right.
And it's a fascinating study in the way that society digests music, because while that seems like the crazy lamest thing in the world to us because we are exposed to so much more, to them what we're doing seems like the craziest, lamest thing in the world because it's not that.
Right. And
So
I think there's bands that stand out within each genre. Like an example is a band called Motion City Soundtrack, kind of transcended the scenester, like emo people, and like wrote real songs. And Avenged Sevenfold is that of metal. They're not great, but they were that standout. Like they did a little bit more unique things for a while. They're kind of corporate rock now, but for a while they were the unique people in that. So it was like they have that tiny little comparison to draw.
Right, and
so
that's
they complimented you in a really, really, really direct way.
And that's it was a very direct way for them, and that's the mental gymnastics. Like our old
It has
violinist,
to be nice.
our old violinist got really offended one night because somebody told him that he reminded the guy of Carter Beauford from Dave Matthews Band, and like Seth's like, I hate Dave Matthews Band. I can't believe you'd say that. I'm like, dude, you're in Lima, Ohio. Like,
They're saying you're good at your
It's the only other band they've ever seen a violin in.
a rock band for sure.
Yeah. Or
And
Yellow Card.
People are going to come to you with whatever their frame of reference is, and it's like they're gonna find a way to fit you into their frame of reference somehow.
Because they want to be able to talk to you as well.
Exactly, and that's a beautiful thing. That's an awesome thing. And so it's like when you tell us we sound like Avenged Sevenfold, like I can't even imagine how you got to that, like what your experience was that got you to that. But like, thank you for coming and talking to us. Like,
And at that point, you ask and you find out the fascinating way that they came to that conclusion. Anyway,
he was really drunk.
Okay, well there you go. That may be the path that.
Well, no, I was
there.
just saying, like, there wasn't a whole lot of, like...
He might have been listening to an entire other band all together in his head.
Maybe. That's right. If you stab your ears just right, Coal-Fired Bicycle sounds like Avenged Sevenfold.
And it's just funny in general how the way that small communities digest music that way. I did it twice already tonight. I say the word Nickelback as though it's almost like a curse. But you look at it in the light of that band has been around since I was in high school, maybe even junior high.
High school.
Still, to this day, are making radio rock hits. They're doing something correct because somebody's buying their shit. It's just that we are disgusted by the premise of it because it's like, ugh, this again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you only listened to one record for your entire life, everyone around you would be like, why are you still listening to Centerfield by John Fogerty? That's not been cool forever.
Yeah, man. But I mean, knowing that you can translate some drunken dude who's trying to be nice to you is the key to like touring and like interacting. At least that means you guys interacted with people who like the set and stuff. So I think this serves as good advice for listeners who might be. I imagine most of the listeners are like creative people, if not musicians. So in closing, make sure you guys go to coalfiredbicycle.com and listen to Avenged Sevenfold or whatever you guys are, and then like
It's sort of a jazz odyssey.
they're the best thing since Dave Matthews Band and Avenged Sevenfold. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this up? Anything you want to say to listeners?
The Hunky
Specifically, my
platter,
mom,
the
'cause she's
Hunky
our
platter is amazing here.
Yeah, come to Ribs Cafe and have the Hunky platter. I'm ready to sleep.
Yes.
But
I actually feel great now.
Me too. I just like to
Closing thoughts.
Yes.
Closing thoughts.
Oh, here's a nice little closing piece of advice. If you're on the road and you think you've only had 6 beers at the bar that night, you probably have had 10, and you're probably way drunker than you think you are. So the hangover the next day is not always worth it to continue to drink the night before.
Yeah, keep tabs. Keep tabs
No.
on how much you drink.
Or on how much your drummer drinks.
No, I'm not. No, don't babysit your drummer. They are their own unique train wreck, and you're not responsible for them. You just have to make sure that they're able to do the thing the next day. So, like, there's a lot of time for whining and writing. So,
Make sure, guys, don't babysit your drummer. Take whatever compliment comes your way. And thanks for listening to Nursery. Signing off, I'm Lee.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Dan.
And I'm tired.
And in the
I'm
background.
Ellen.
All right, guys. Look, Mom, we're all on a podcast. Thanks for listening. That sounded good, man. That was nice.
This is Jimmy Martin from the Speaking of Music show at YouTube. Thanks for listening to the Nursery Podcast.